Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Create Knowledge. If you are new here, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon to stay updated with our latest videos. In today's video, we are going to create a login page for a Spring MVC project with MySQL backend. I'll cover everything from setting up project to configuring your database and implementing the login functionality. In this video, I'll provide a comprehensive guide to getting your Spring MVC application up and running with secure user authentication. So let's go to start it. As you are seeing here, my application is running. Now click on project folder and run as Spring Boot application. Now I have not get any error. Now go to server. Here you write https://localhost:8081 and /login. Here I am going to enter. Now as you see, our application is running. We have our login page where user can enter the credential. Let's test it by logging with our test user. Now I'm going to enter Ram Gopal as username and Ram123 as password and click on login. Great. We have successfully logged in and welcome page is displayed. This confirms that our login functionality works correctly with MySQL backend. Now, suppose I put any wrong password. I am giving the password is Ram. Then press on enter, login, and I see it give a message that invalid username or password. Again I am trying to do it. Ram Gopal and password Ram123 and enter. That's great. Welcome page and I have successfully logged in. Now I'm going to tell you how to make this program. Let us know about the project structure and ensure everything is correctly set up before submit. Here our project structure. In the model package, we have our user entity class which map the users table in the MySQL database. In the repository package, we have the user repository interface which extend JPA repository for database operation. And third, in the service package, the user service contains the business logic for user authentication. Fourth, in the controller package, the LoginController handles the login requests and directs users to the appropriate views. And in the resource folder, we have our Thymeleaf templates for the login and welcome pages, and our application.properties file where the database connection settings are configured. The application.properties file makes sure you have the correct database connection settings. Here the port number 8080, SQL database URL, and here your DB name which I am going to create, and here the username of MySQL database. Here you put the password of MySQL database. MySQL database default username is root. MySQL database password. Here I have write. Here my password is admin. And here you have to write the driver class name. And you have to write JPA hibernate. And you have to write JPA source and Thymeleaf. Make sure that application.properties fill correctly. If you put anything wrong, your project will not run, it will give the error. So be careful with application.properties. Now I am going to open MySQL database where I will write the username and password, and backend I will fill the username and password. Now I am going to create a database in MySQL. I am giving the name of my database is login_data. Now I am going to open MySQL database. So click on Start. Here MySQL 8.0 command line. Here you see MySQL command line is open. It is asking my password. My password is admin. Enter. Here I am going to use MySQL server version is 8.0.32. Now I am going to write create database login_data. Now here I am going to write create database login_data and enter. And then I write use login data. Here I am going to write use login data and enter. Database chain. Now I am going to create table. Here I will write create table user. In bracket I will write ID int 11 auto increment primary key. Int value I am given 11. Int ID int 11 auto increment primary key, comma. Then I write username varchar 50 not null unique. Username varchar 50 not null unique, comma, and then password varchar 20 not null. Password varchar 20 not null and close bracket and semicolon and enter. Now one table is created. So I write here describe user, right here describe user, enter. So you see field type ID username password, type null key primary key unique default and extra auto increment. Now here I am going to insert some data in backend. So I write here insert user values in bracket. Here I am going to write ID 101, comma, name David John, comma, and password is David 123. Okay, and then put the close bracket and semicolon and enter. Okay, one data I put. Next, one more data I am going to enter. I write again insert into user values in bracket. ID is 102, comma, name Thomas Cook and password Thomas123. Then close bracket and semicolon and enter. So two data I have entered. Now I am going to write select star from user. Here I am going to write select star from user. Then I will get the table ID and password. ID 101, username David John, password David 123. Second is 102 Thomas Cook and Thomas 123. This part is over. I have created a database and database name is login_data. By backend, I have entered the two data in my database. Remember this ID and password David John, David 123, Thomas Cook, Thomas 123. Now I am going to close this window. Now I am going to open my Spring Tool Suite. This is my Spring Tool Suite. Here I am using latest version 4.23.1. Click. Now it is going to open. Now you see my Spring Tool Suite ID is open. Now I'll have to make a Spring MVC project in Spring Tool Starter project. Click on File, New. Here I write Spring Starter project. Click here, and here I am giving the project name is login. Type is Maven. Packaging is jar. Java version is 17, and Java language Java. And my group is called package. My main package is com.gopal. Artifact ID is project name is login, and description of my project login project for Spring Boot. Now click on next. Here I have to put the dependencies. You know, I have already told you that I will use these 4 dependencies. One is Spring Web, Spring Data JPA, and first I am going to use Spring Web, Spring Data JPA, MySQL driver, and Thymeleaf. First I am going to write here MySQL. This is MySQL driver. Next I will write Spring JPA. This is Spring Data JPA. And next I will write Web, Spring Web. This is Spring Web. And last I will write Thymeleaf. This is Thymeleaf. So here I am use 4 dependencies: Spring Data JPA, MySQL driver, Thymeleaf, and Spring Web. Now click on Finish. Now you see here my project login is created. If I click in login, you get the main file. One is src main Java, one is src main resource, and one is src main test, and here GRE system library and Maven dependencies. If I click src main Java, here my main package is com.gopal. In resource, here you get the application.properties and template. So now first I am going to create a 4 package. Here I will create 4 package. One is demo.controller, another is demo.model, demo.repository, and demo.service. And class name will be demo.controller. Class name is UserService. In package demo.model, I will use class file user Java. And demo.repository, here I will use class file user repository. And demo.service, here I will use user service. These are 4 class and 4 package. I will make all package in my main package com.gopal. So now first I am going to click on my main package src main Java. Right click com.gopal, new, click on package. Here I am giving the package name. First I am going to use the model package. Here I am going to make a package dot demo dot model. Okay, then click finish. Now you see com.gopal.demo.model. Right click here, new. I will make a class file name. I am giving user. I am giving the class name user, and click on finish. Now see package com.gopal.demo.model. Here I have created a class user. User is the entity, so I will use the annotation of entity. You write here entity @entity. Okay, and next here I will write private long ID, private string username, private string password. So first I am going to create a class private long ID. Now I am going to write private long ID, and one private string username. Because ID is integer type, so I write public long ID, and next I'm going to write private string username, and next private string password. Private string password. Here I'm going to use the annotation. First ID is ID, so I'll take annotation ID. Here I put the annotation ID. This is ID, and next I will use the annotation generate value, and here I am going to pass strategy is equal to generation type identity, and in private string user, here I will use annotation column, and here I will pass null label is equal to false, unique is equal to true. Null label is equal to false, unique is equal to true. Okay, and in private string password, here I will also use annotation column, and here I will pass null label is equal to false. Now I have taken the three class ID, username and password. Now I will make a getter and setter method. So right click here, go to source, Here you get getter and setter. Click here, and you have to select ID, password, username, select all, and then click on generate. Okay. So now I have created getter and setter method. Here I have write getter and setter. Now I have to remove the error because I am having some error is there. So now click on entity. Here I have to import entity Jakarta.persistence and ID, import ID and generate value and column. Now see all error has been removed. Now I am going to save my project. Here I have to import generation type Jakarta persistence. Okay. Now see, here I am not getting any error. Okay, now demo model is complete. Now I am going to make repository package. I am giving the package name demo.repository. Right click on your main package com.gopal, new, go to package, and here write demo.repository, and then click on finish. You see here demo.repository package is created. Inside this package I will write a class. I am giving the class name user repository. So right click on demo repository, new class. I am giving the class name the user repository. Click on finish, and you see here class name user repository. In model class we have used the user entity class, which map the user table of in our MySQL database, and in repository package we have the user repository interface, which extend JPA repository for database operation. And next I am telling you, in third package we will make a service package where my class will be user service, contain the business logic for user authentication. And fourth package I will make a controller package. In controller package I will make a class LoginController. It handle the login request and direct user to the appropriate views. Okay, so now I am going to make, it is my user repository. I have to write here extend to JPA repository. Here I am going to write operation optional user find by username string username. Here I am going to write optional user find by username. Okay. So now my repository file is complete. Now I have to remove the error. So click on optional, import optional and user. Here I have the user com.gopal.demo.model and JPA repository. Import JPA repository package and class is complete. Now I'm going to save it. Now another I'm going to make a service package. Here I'm giving package name demo.service. Go to the main package com.gopal, new, click on package. Here I'm giving the package name .demo.service and then click on finish. Now inside this demo.service I'll make a class file name UserService. Here right click on demo.service, new, class. I'm giving the class name UserService and then click on finish. Now you see UserService class is created. Here I'm going to write one class private user repository. Here I have to write private user repository. Here I'm going to use annotation AutoWare @AutoWare. Okay. And next I'll make a method that is public optional user find by username. Public optional user find by username, and here I'll pass string username, and I'll put the curly bracket. Here I'm going to write return user repository, and I'll pass username. And here next I'm going to write another method that public boolean authentication. Here I'm going to use the method of authentication. Public boolean authenticate. You write here public boolean authenticate, and you pass string username and string password. And put the curly bracket. Inside here you write optional user is equal to find by username, and I'll pass username and put semicolon, and I'll pass return user is present, and user.get, and I'm going to write user.get password equal password, and here I'll put a semicolon. Okay. So now this part is also over. My user service class is complete. AutoWare. I have to import the AutoWare. A user repository. I'll import user com.gopal.demo repository. Okay. Optional. I'll import optional from java.util. User. Here I am to import the com.gopal.demo.model. So now all error has been removed. I have to make one package, that is controller package. I have to create the controller package where I will write the login controller code. Now I am going to create a package demo.controller. Here com.gopal, right click, new, package. I am giving the package name .demo.controller and click on finish, and you see here demo.controller package is created. Inside this package I will write a class file that is login controller, demo.controller, new, class, and give the class name login controller and click on finish. Now you see here login controller class file is created. Now I am going to write, because controller login controller is a controller class, so I'll use the annotation controller. So here I write annotation controller, private user service, private user service, and here I'll use annotation auto-aware. Here I'll use annotation auto-aware. Here I'm going to write public string login, and here I'll use annotation get mapping login. Here I'm going to write public string login. Here write curly bracket. Now I'm going to use annotation get mapping slash login, and here I write return login. For post mapping, I'll make a method that public string login. Here I'm going to write public string login. Here I will pass request param string username request param. First I'm going to pass here request param string username, and then request param string password, then request param password and comma, and then I will use model class model. Here now I'll put the curly bracket here. I'll put it here. Now here public string login, I'll use annotation post mapping slash login. Here I'll use post mapping login, and here inside this public string login I'll use if and else. Inside the if I'll write UserService.authenticate, and here I'll pass username comma password, and then I'll return redirect welcome. If it will authenticate that your username and password is correct, then it will return redirect to welcome page. So I'll write here this code return redirect / welcome page, and else I write model attribute model.attribute, and I'll pass error invalid username or password. You write here error comma invalid username and password and put a semicolon. Okay. Next I will make another public string welcome. Here I am going to write public string welcome, and here I'll curly bracket. Here I am going to write, here it will return welcome. Now I'll use here annotation get mapping / welcome. Here I am writing mapping @ annotation get mapping and / welcome. Okay, so now my login controller class file is ready. Now I have to remove the error. Click on controller, import controller. Here I'll click import auto-aware. I have to import com.gopal.demo.service and get mapping. Import get mapping and post mapping. Import the post mapping and return param. Import the return param. Model. Import the model. Add attribute. Here model. Import. Remember, you import the proper way. Here I have to import model org spring framework.ui. Now I am not getting any error. Okay, so now I have completed the 4 package One is demo.controller, demo.model, demo.repository, and demo.service. After that, I have to write the HTML page. For HTML page, click on src main resource, template, right click on template, new, go to file and click. Here you see login, folder path is login src main resource template, src main resource template. Here I am going to make a login file, login.html, login.html. Click on finish. Now see your login.html file is created. First I am going to write doc type, and then I'll give you the link of Thymeleaf. Okay, and in next line I'll write head. I'll give the title. Title is login, and then I'll write body. Here I'm going to write. First I'm giving the in body I'll write h1 tag login, and next I'll write. Next I'll use form tag. In form I'll write action hashtag and action @ curly bracket login, and method is post. Here I am going to write insert this form. Action is equal to hashtag and login, and method is post. And next I'll write div. I'll write label for username and then pass username, and then input type text, ID username, and name is username. Now you write here ID input type text, ID username, name username is required. In my next div I write username, next I write password. In div password, label for password, and I'll pass password. Here you write label password for password and pass password, and next input type password, ID password, name password. Right here input type is password, ID password, name password, and it is required. Now this div also complete. Now I have to write one more div. I'll write it for submit button. I'll write button type submit and login. So right here button type submit and login and pass login. Okay. And next I'm going to write, if I got any error inside this div, I'll write. Here I'm going to write that th if is equal to error, and I'll use p tag. Here I'm going to write p th text is equal to $error and close tag p tag. And now this part is also over. So login.html is complete. Now I have to make another HTML page, that is welcome. So now click on template, right click, new, go to file, and you see a login src main java resource template. Here I am giving the file name welcome.html, and click on finish. So now my welcome.html file is ready, create. Now here I am going to write doc type, and I'll put the Thymeleaf link, and then I'll write head, title is I'll pass welcome, and then I'll use body. Here I'm giving the body color. Now I'm going to fix the body color of my display. So I write here body. Here I am going to write style is equal to background color. Choose the background color. Enter. Here I am going to choose the background color is pink. Choose here. Click. Okay. And next, this is the background color. Now I will choose the right here welcome H1 tag. I will use H1. Here you write welcome. And next I am going to write. Next I will write a message that you have successfully logged in, and it should be appear in a particular color. So now I am going to choose the color also. So I write here H1 tag. Here I am going to write style color. I'll choose the color. Now I'm choosing the color. I'll choose the color blue. Okay. So it appear in blue color that you have successfully logged in. So here I'm passing a message that you have successfully logged in. Here I'm choosing this color, but you can change the color as per your choice. So now this part is also over. Now I'm going to save my project. Save. Now I have to set. Here I have to. This is the major part of this project. Here I have to put the database connection. Here this is application.properties. You have to write the port number. You have to write the MySQL URL. You have to write MySQL password, a MySQL username, and MySQL database name. And here you have to pass driver class and Spring JPA Hibernate, Spring JPA show, and Spring Thymeleaf. First I am going to write my port number. Here I write server.port number, server.port. I'll write port number 8080. Okay. Then Spring application dot. It is coming in default. And next one I'll write database, Spring dot database dot URL. Here I'll write the URL. Spring database URL. My URL is JDBC MySQL :/localhost :3306 and then login underscore data. It is my database name. Okay. Now I have to put my server database server username and password. Spring dot data source dot username. My username is root. Root is the default username of MySQL server database. And you have to write the MySQL server password is admin. So I'll write admin. Okay. And then I'll write driver class. Driver class is common for all. And Hibernate or DDL is common for all. You have to remember these codes, or you can note down it somewhere else. And next, I'll write spl.jpa.show spring.jpa.show dash SQL is true. And next, spring.thymeleaf.catch is equal to false. Now you see, here I have created 4 package demo.controller and class them UserService. And here I create demo.model and class them is user.java, and I create demo.repository class is user repository, and demo.service class is user service. Okay. I am going to save my project and try to run it. Let me check whether we have successful or not. So now click on your project folder, that is login. Right click run as Spring Boot app. Here I am getting error. You see, here it is written that web server failed to start port 8080 was already in use. So I have to change the port number. 8080 port will not accept. So I have to open this application.properties file. Here I have to change the port. Now I am going to change it as 8081. And then I have saved my project. And now again I am going to run my project. From here you can also relaunch your project. Here you see, click here, login application. Again it is running. Now this time I will not get any error. And you can see here I am using port number 8081 that I am going to show you. You see, Tomcat initiated with port number 8081. Okay. So now I am going to open my server. I put the two username and password. You know, during the write in MySQL database, I was put two data. One is ID 101, username David John, and password is David 123. And one more data I put there, Thomas Cook, and password is Thomas 123. Now yes, you go to my server. Here I am going to write http localhost colon 8081 and login. Click here, right, enter, and you see here login page is there. Here you have to write the username and password. So now I'm going to write David John is username. Username is David John and password is David 123. David 123 and click on login. Oh, great. I have successful to create this project. I have reached in my welcome page and you see here it is telling you have successfully logged in. Okay. Now one more data I was put in backend, that is username Thomas Cook and password is Thomas123. So I am going to write here Thomas Cook and password is Thomas123. 123 and then click and login. Okay, great. Welcome, you have successfully logged in. So that means the two data I was put in my MySQL database, that is working fine. Now I am going to tell you one thing. Suppose I am going to change here username. If I write the wrong username, then what happened? Here I am write username Thomas and password is Thomas123 and then click on login. You see here it is giving message that username invalid username and password. So that means it will not accept anything wrong credential. So again I am going to write Thomas Cook and Thomas123 and click on login. Now welcome, you have successfully logged in. That's it for today's video on setting up a login page in a Spring MVC project with MySQL database. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and share it with anyone you think might benefit from it. And if you have any question or run into any issues, please feel free to leave a comment below, and I will do my best to help you out. Also, let me know what other topics you like me to cover in my future video. And again, I am requesting you, don't forget to subscribe my channel and share my video with your friends. Thanks for watching my video. Thanks a lot. And I'll see you in my next video. Thanks a lot. Thanks.